Trump may get Bitcoin and make it part of the strategic reserves that the United States has. Now, if I think about what strategic reserves are, typically strategic reserves are things that the US needs in order to function in dire situations. So like, for example, the US has a strategic reserve of oil that it could call on in the case of wars and stuff like that. For Bitcoin, there's no real reason to hold it except for value protection. So if anything, it would fall under the same class as gold, right? So it would be like almost like we would keep gold on the US balance sheet as some kind of diversification or hard asset. And I guess that would make the most logical sense. What I've also heard is we do know that the United States has a large holding of Bitcoin, and they've got this through various confiscations.
Lead anchor and editor-in-chief at Kitco News, Michelle McCory, interviewed Ran Neuner, founder and host of Crypto Banter, about potential announcements by Donald Trump regarding Bitcoin as a strategic reserve asset. Neuner provided his technical Bitcoin price forecast, detailing the next aggressive bull market and discussing potential Bitcoin price scenarios. According to Neuner, there are speculations that Trump may announce adding Bitcoin to the U.S. strategic reserve. While strategic reserves typically include necessities like oil, Neuner points out that Bitcoin, like gold, would be retained for value protection. He also notes that the U.S. government has confiscated a substantial quantity of Bitcoin, roughly 200,000 coins, through various means. If Trump declares his intention to keep Bitcoin in the strategic reserve, selling pressure may be reduced, potentially benefiting the market. Neuner discusses recent market turmoil, such as the sale of Bitcoin seized in Germany and the possible sale of Mt. Gox currencies. He adds that many people have a strong interest in cryptocurrency, and that Trump has gained a base of wealthy supporters who disagree with the Biden administration's position. David Sachs, a well-known venture capitalist, invites people to join the Republican Party in a tweet retweeted by Neuner, listing several well-known individuals including Mark Andreessen, Ben Horowitz, Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss, and Elon Musk. According to Neuner, Trump is winning over powerful and affluent people in the cryptocurrency industry. Neuner's insights suggest that Trump's potential support for Bitcoin could significantly impact the market. If Bitcoin is added to the U.S. strategic reserve, it may reduce selling pressure and attract more institutional interest. This move could also solidify Trump's influence among wealthy cryptocurrency enthusiasts and further polarize opinions on the Biden administration's approach to digital assets. The interview highlights the growing intersection between politics and the cryptocurrency market, emphasizing the potential for significant developments in the near future.
Stop. You don't have time. Don't miss out this 2025 bull run. Educate yourself first ahead of the crowd. We have created the ultimate step-by-step crypto cheat guide that will guide you this bull run. Unlock the secrets of crypto and make smarter investments today. Now by clicking on the link below to get your exclusive copy just under $10.
Look, lots to look forward to in Nashville, that's for sure. I've heard from various sources, including Dennis, very similar things. I mean, I do have to question exactly what it means, because what we've heard is that Trump may get Bitcoin and make it part of the strategic reserves that the United States has. Now, if I think about what strategic reserves are, typically strategic reserves are things that the US needs in order to function in dire situations. So like, for example, the US has a strategic reserve of oil that it could call on in the case of wars and stuff like that. For Bitcoin, there's no real reason to hold it except for value protection. So if anything, it would fall under the same class as gold, right? So it would be like almost like we would keep gold on the US balance sheet as some kind of diversification or hard asset. And I guess that would make the most logical sense. What I've also heard is we do know that the United States has a large holding of Bitcoin, and they've got this through various confiscations along the years. And this is like quite a hefty sum of Bitcoin. I think above $3 or $4 billion. Don't quote me on the actual number.
It's actually 200,000 Bitcoin that the U.S. has currently holding that it seized, according to most estimates, 200,000 Bitcoins.
It's a big number. And so what we believe is that Trump may just announce that he's going to be holding it as part of the strategic reserve, which means that the cloud of the potential selling pressure may actually dissipate. And that's quite a big thing, because if you look at why Bitcoin has been coming down in the last couple of weeks before the Trump assassination attempt, it's because there were multiple market. The first forced seller in the market was Germany. So the German government had a very similar situation to the United States government, where they also landed up with about $2 or $3 billion worth of Bitcoin. And they also have a rule that they need to sell the asset if there's 10% fluctuations. And there was a 10% fluctuation, so they needed to sell their Bitcoin. And they landed up selling $2 to $3 billion worth of Bitcoin on the open market. there's now, and that was one of the clouds around the market. Then there was another cloud. The cloud is around Mt. Gox coins, as they're called in the market. And the origination of these Mt. Gox coins is in 2014, when Bitcoin was still in its infancy. There was a prominent exchange in Japan. The exchange was called Mt. Gox. And the exchange went into liquidation. And as part of the liquidation, the liquidator inherited what is today probably $10 billion or so worth of Bitcoin. And it's taken them since 2014 to wind down the estate. And they're now starting to make repayments of those coins. And so you're getting a whole lot of selling pressure on the market. Remember that crypto is a passion point. It is, you can see that crypto followers are very passionate people. A lot of them are vote, or a lot of them have seen how the Biden administration, Elizabeth Warren, Gary Gensler have taken on crypto. And Trump has found a big supporter base, who's a very wealthy supporter base in this pocket of people that actually own cryptocurrency. And Trump is playing into it. He knows that Biden is against it. He knows that it's a passion point for many, many prominent people. I want to just show you a quick tweet, which I called up here. It's a tweet from David Sachs. David Sachs is a prominent VC. And he says, it ends off by saying, come on in, the water's warm here. And he's referring to people that have gone over to the Republican Party. But if you look at the people that he's talking about, it's Ben Horowitz, Bill Ackman, Cameron Douglas, Doug Leone, Elon Musk, Carl Samani, Mark Andreessen. Most of these people are actually crypto investors, or most of these people are very, very, very heavy in crypto. Like Ben Horowitz is part of Andreessen Horowitz. They probably the biggest crypto investments in the world. Bill Ackman is a very early Bitcoin advocate. Cameron Winklevoss and his brother Tyler Winklevoss are the Facebook twins and huge Bitcoin advocates. What you can see on this list is that the people that Trump is rallying behind him are very wealthy, very influential people. And a lot of them are actually cryptocurrency fanatics or cryptocurrency supporters.
Rand Neuner discusses the speculation that Donald Trump might add Bitcoin to the U.S. strategic reserve, which could ease selling pressure. He notes that the U.S. government has seized 200,000 Bitcoins and that wealthy crypto enthusiasts who oppose Biden's stance might support Trump. Prominent individuals such as Elon Musk and Ben Horowitz could back Trump, potentially benefiting the cryptocurrency market. Neuner emphasizes that new technology often faces resistance, especially when it threatens established powers. In the case of cryptocurrency, this resistance could lead to significant financial rewards for early adopters who gain a major advantage. Neuner highlights the recent developments in the cryptocurrency market since his last discussion. The legalization of Bitcoin ETFs has been a game-changer, and Coinbase's stock price has surged from $40 to over $200. He points out that those who recognize the potential of cryptocurrencies early on have greatly benefited. Additionally, Neuner reviews his previous forecasts, including Coinbase's crucial role in the market, the approval of ETFs, and the U.S. Department of Justice's actions against Binance, all of which have positively impacted Coinbase. He argues that these predictions have come true following the Bitcoin halving event, which reduced Bitcoin's inflation rate and created scarcity. Neuner observes that the cryptocurrency market is currently in a consolidation phase. He anticipates that Bitcoin's price may rise by 42% in the coming weeks, and that a breakout above $74,000 will signal the start of the next bull market. If Neuner's predictions are accurate, 2024 could be a very successful and positive year for Bitcoin. Let's return to the interview for more insights from Rand Neuner.
It's natural when new technology comes in, specifically when the technology threatens the incumbents, that there's going to be a lot of resistance. The earlier that people adopt new technologies, the more value they get out of it, the smarter they become, and in this case, specifically with crypto, potentially the richer they become.
Right.
So I think it's, new times for Bitcoin, specifically since the last time we spoke. We spoke a while ago. There was a lot of, none of this had happened. The ETF wasn't approved. And I don't know if you remember, I said to you then Coinbase was trading at $40. And I said to you, Michelle, we need to go all in on Coinbase. And I think today Coinbase is way over $200. It's all about how quickly you can see what's happening and whether or not you're willing to take the risk. And for those people that have been, the earlier you're willing to do it, the more return there's obviously been. Okay, so let's quickly go back to what the trade has been. I think the last time we met, it was somewhere around here, and I told you I think it was the bottom. I told you that I think that there was going to be an ETF approved. I told you that I think that Coinbase was going to be one of the biggest custodians of that ETF trade, and I think it was. I think I told you that that I also thought that the U.S. Department of Justice was going to do something against Binance, and that would be where Coinbase really came into its own, and I think that happened. Now, where are we? We've just had the halving. The halving is a period where the miner rewards or the inflation rate of Bitcoin halves, and it does this because it does this to increase the scarcity of Bitcoin. And every year after the halving, we have what they call a halving chop. So we chop sideways for a long period of time. In previous years, it's been something around 200 days, somewhere around there. In this halving, we have been kind of chopping sideways for about, just have a look here. Let's get an accurate measure. About 142 days. We've been chopping sideways. And when I say sideways, between 60,000, 59,000, and 74,000, which is the all-time high of Bitcoin. This is just a matter of time. It's an accumulation period. We are exactly following the halving pattern from every other halving. I suspect that in the next month or two, we'll break up above the 74,000 range, and then we will begin the next part of the bull market. Now, I just want to show you what the halving post the bull market looks like. I'm trying to compress my chart. In fact, just to make it easier, maybe let's just look at a weekly. So what you can see is that post the halving, when you break out of this sideways movement, you get into a very aggressive bull market. This is measured in weeks. So this is the bull market that's measured in weeks. And you can see that the gains in Bitcoin in the previous bull market from that breakout, in 23 weeks, we had a 41%, we had a 402% rise in the price of Bitcoin. So I suspect that the same thing is going to happen. I suspect that we're going to follow this upward trend. I suspect that in 30 to 60 days, we will break up above this 74,000 level, which means that technically on the chart point of view, we're going to go into what they call price discovery. Price discovery happens when an asset has never been at that high price. And so you can't really chart the upside anymore. And I think at this point, it takes us to a new all-time high. And I think if my thesis is correct, we have a very aggressive end of year and potentially 2025. And I can break down for you from a fundamental point of view why I think we're going to have the aggressive 2025. So I've broken it down for you in the chart and I've shown you the chart, but let's actually dig into the fundamentals that actually back the charts. So I think the first thing is, as you rightly mentioned, you've got a pro-crypto administration that may come into power. Now, I say the words may come into power.
Right.
Because I'm not expecting Bitcoin to go up in a straight line. And I'll tell you why I don't think it's going to be a straight line from here. I think right now, the market has factored a Trump win into the markets.
Meanwhile, Ethereum's holding exchange-traded funds have received approval from the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. As a result, Americans now have access to the second-largest cryptocurrency through recognizable and easy-to-use trading platforms. After years of seeking approval, investors can now access Ethereum through ETFs similarly to Bitcoin. This development is significant as it opens up Ethereum to traditional investors who might have been hesitant to make direct cryptocurrency investments. ETFs simplify Ethereum investing by allowing purchases and sales through standard brokerage accounts. The approval of Bitcoin ETFs in January demonstrated their potential popularity, with tens of billions of dollars invested since their launch. The SEC's authorization of Ethereum ETFs is a crucial step. As Bitwise Chief Investment Officer Matt Hogan stated, "We've now fully entered the ETF era of crypto." With exchange-traded funds now available for both Bitcoin and Ethereum, investors have low-cost access to over 70% of the liquid crypto asset market. This move is seen as a major victory for investors who have been waiting for this moment. Kyle DeCruz, head of digital assets at VanEck, emphasized that investors should have access to Ethereum exposure in a familiar and accessible vehicle. Investors can now capitalize on the promise of the Ethereum network, often referred to as the open-source app store for blockchain technology, by purchasing Ethereum ETFs. As we conclude, what are your thoughts on this interview? Do you think Donald Trump would buy Bitcoin as an American asset if he wins the upcoming election? What do you think about the expected bull market? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. For more Daily Dose crypto news, check out these two awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.